Hi everybody, this is Kurt from kurtsworld, and today I'm going to draw my life. Something in these videos that I really appreciate is everybody's complete honesty in telling their life story. So let's pull back the layers and see what's really there. Here we go. I'm gonna set the record straight. I was an accident. I wasn't sure for a really long time, but after doing some investigation and research on my own, the information became pretty clear to me. I wasn't intended to be born. My parents were, let's say, excited. My mom, although she was really young, was excited to have a baby boy, and my dad couldn't be happier. As a baby, my teeth developed so early, and I developed such bitey gums that my mom couldn't even breastfeed me after 2 weeks of being born. So my mom had to switch over to a classic sort of formula that she got at Price Club. We stocked up so much. And my taste developed even further. That's something you should know about me. My tastes are always developing. And where does this story take place? In the great state of California. Where in California? Los Angeles. That's where I was born. Although, shortly after, my parents had to move out to Azusa, because it's just a little bit more affordable and better for raising a family. After we got settled, something happened that I'd never forget. The day, September 11th, 2001. I think you know what happened on that day. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got up to go to kindergarten, and my mom was going to go to Sovereign Bank where she worked, but she said that we should stay home and watch the TV. And we watched the planes crash into the buildings millions of times, like everyone else in America, and it was really scary. But also, it was fascinating. Seeing those planes run straight into the buildings, people jumping out of the windows, running around, the dust, the fire. And even though I didn't fully understand everything back then, I knew that no one could ever forget an event like that, real or fake. Man, what a crazy first week in Azusa. Then things kind of got back to normal. Growing up, I was a bit of a loner. But then once I started going to school, I made so many friends that would last a lifetime. But one of my most important friends was the friend I made in my after-school science club, Mr. Kotis. When people talk about influencers, a lot of people forget teachers have one of the biggest influences on your life. And sure, Mr. Kotis had that for me. I think that I have to thank Mr. Kotis for my deep love of technology and just staying ahead of the curve, always looking forward to what new products and technology is being developed in this world. We moved from one side of Azusa to the other, and all of a sudden, I had to make brand new friends. It was the beginning of what I like to call the rough years, roughly 2003 to 2005. And there's one particular experience that sticks out to me from this time, and that's the clog the toilet incident. For those of you who don't know, clog the toilet is a silly playground game. It involves a big tube slide and just as many kids as you can get. One of the kids sits at the bottom of the slide and clogs everyone in there so nobody can get out. And actually, this was the first day that I was hanging out in the park of my new neighborhood, that is. I chose that I would want to be the one to clog the toilet. I could sit at the bottom and hold everyone in there as long as they wanted, and these kids would see how strong and dependable I was. And maybe, just maybe, they'd want to be my friend. It didn't work out that way. I was unable to hold everyone in. As the kids kept pouring down the slide, I gripped onto the slide for dear life, trying to contain all these laughing kids. And they just kept coming, and eventually, I had to quit. I wasn't strong. I wasn't dependable. I collapsed. I fell, and all the kids came spilling out after me. This kid Jordan even told me, WTF. And just by the small chance that Jordan, you're watching this, I didn't mean to let you down. And also, man, that wasn't cool and I deserved an apology, and I know that now. And then came the biggest surprise of my life, at least to that point. I was going to be a big brother. My mom was pregnant with a little boy, and I was going to call him Lucas. They said I could pick the name, which I was really excited about. But then came the worst surprise yet, the miscarriage. So my little brother became a dream and not much of a reality. The trauma of baby Lucas not being born right or correct created a rift between my two parents, and they just couldn't get over it. they decided to get separated. It was a really confusing time for me because although they were separated, they still liked to see each other, and for 5 years they wouldn't get divorced, but Dad never seemed to sleep over the house ever. That's when I learned that every single thing happens for a reason. At this point, my dad moved to Venice Beach, and I would love to go visit him there. On weekends, I would go and hang out at the beach while he worked on music all day. It was amazing. After a few years of living on the beach, my dad ran into some hard times. There wasn't much work out there, so we moved into Hollywood, where I would visit him all the time. I would walk up to the Hollywood sign and look out so I could see the entire city. It's funny. That was where I took my first selfie. Then, my dad had to move from Hollywood to North Hollywood. North Hollywood is in the valley, just north of Hollywood. He was going to have more space to record the artists that he really loved. And actually, we were both really happy about it. It was at this time that I developed my love for animation, specifically SpongeBob. It was at this point my dad noticed he wasn't really enjoying work as much as he had in the past. And he realized he wasn't so much of a behind-the-scenes artist as he was somebody who goes out and plays live in front of people and then can party with them afterwards. And I totally got that because I was developing my own interests. It was at this point I started spending more time with my mom and Grandpa, her dad. My grandpa owns a junkyard way out in Sun Valley, so I would go out there and just hang out. Mom and Grandpa's side of the family, they're super smart, but they're also really emotional. This could be seen as a strengthness and a weakness, depending on how you look at it. And fun fact, I bet all you Kurties out there recognize Grandpa's junkyard. It was actually featured heavily in a lot of my earliest videos, along with his pet parrot, Cheeto. But sadly, after some of my earliest videos were done, they both died. And that's when I learned my next important lesson. You don't really know what you got until it's gone. After Grandpa died, Mom was upset. So I decided I was going to be a good son and stay home and keep her company. And I don't know how it happened, but one thing led to another, and I started getting really into online gaming. First with my PC, with Second Life and RuneScape, all that stuff, even Facebook. But then I moved on to Xbox Live with Halo. And you can't forget World of Warcraft, that's on PC. And that's where I made some of my first real friends. We would hang out all the time online, battle together, go exploring, you name it. People always talk about soulmates, and then I ask them, have you ever been a gamer? Because you might not understand the loyalty that I feel between other gamers online. As I was kicking ass online, my mom, she was getting better too. She started hanging out with this woman, Cassandra. I guess you could say she was seeing her. She was helping her get into this spiritual stuff and crystal healing. Cassandra was always hanging around the house. Mom even gave me a special crystal that Cassandra told her would bring me good restorative energy. And I still use it for luck and just to have around to this day. So it's a really pretty crystal. After 3 years of non-stop touring, my dad was finally taking a break and moving back to North Hollywood. A lot had changed for Dad. He became a Buddhist and started to quit smoking as well. I was so proud of him. And the first place he took me was this kick-ass music video shoot. I couldn't believe it. The lights, the camera, the sound, the music, girls, rappers, cash. It was incredible. I finally got my glimpse into what professional content looks like and how it's made. You can't even imagine the impact that would have on a kid on the verge of being creative just at the age of 12. At that moment, I knew I would never forget that moment, and I never have. In 2009, I officially started kurtsworld, and I registered the account on every platform, kicking off the empire you know today. It's pretty cool, huh? Inspired by everything I saw in the video shoot, I decided to make my own first official video. For my first video, I really wanted to come in with a bang. I decided the best way for me to do that was to film myself doing a big stunt. I spread word around the school, come to the dumpsters behind the school after school. Then, I climbed to the top of the school and jumped, landing in the school's dumpster. Unfortunately, I didn't do my homework. The dumpster had been emptied earlier that day, and I fell, crashing my back on the bottom of the steel dumpster. I don't even remember the jump. I only remember waking up in the hospital 4 days later. And for the next 4 months, I was bedridden. These were the loneliest 4 months of my entire life. I was completely depressed. To add insult to injury, the camera wasn't rolling. I didn't get my big stunt. But there is a bright side. All the kids that had attended the jump after school filmed the video and put the video online. And although I wasn't getting any of the views, technically, I still went viral in Azusa. I was a hit, and it was the perfect jumping off point for my next series of videos. I wanted my videos to be something that people could watch anytime, anywhere, any place, any state of mind, no matter where you are, and you could learn something, you could grow, you could discover something new that you might not know. So, in many ways, I'm actually happy for the dumpster incident, because without it, I would have never discovered this new direction that kurtzworld has gone. Everything from tips, tricks, life hacks, reviews, and all the little things in between, the things that make life really cool and so much fun. To be honest, guys, that's when I also realized something super important. I realized that trying to make the kids in your hometown be your only audience, that's super limiting. You can't do this for anyone else but yourself. There's a whole freaking world out there outside of Azusa that's ready to gobble up kurtzworld, or even your original content if you put it out there. And there are so many tricks and tips to get you guys speaking to a larger audience. I posted in forums, I went on Reddit, subreddit, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube. Be innovative. I DM'd people. You have to follow different accounts and really follow up with people. If you're attentive and active, people are going to notice. And guys, don't sleep on that funny content. That's something people really connect with. As you can see through my story, life isn't easy. So lighten up, tell a joke, make a meme, and get yourself out there. And plus, every time you laugh, technically, you're losing calories. At that point, I wasn't making enough money off of my content to help my mom, so I decided to do something about it. That's when I started babysitting. First part-time, but then almost every single night. At one point, I was babysitting for half the families in Azusa. At least, it seemed that way. I knew almost every single kid in town, and they were more, quote-unquote, digital native than me. And you can imagine, I really learned a lot. And I sucked it up like a sponge and funneled it right into kurtzworld. It was a great source for new content and new fans. And I'm still friends with most of those kids today. Shout out to my friend Bobby Bud Lee, who I babysat, and I'm still friends with him to this day. Pretty cool, huh? That doesn't happen every day. So through this, I learned a couple things. First, work is fun and can be very rewarding. I also learned babysitting, or any other type of work, lead to good content. Also, it's important to make money so you can buy products to review and to do life hacks, unboxing, and hauls. Don't forget hauls. These values have followed me all the way from my babysitting days to my new job, a spree driver, where I implement the same spirit of help and fun. And the cool thing about spree is that you're interacting with people all the time. So you never know when you're going to be the center of an event or a moment in somebody's life. Honestly, it's amazing for content and for just in general. And guess what? In just 1 year, I've amassed over 3,000 rides. That's historic. Don't even get me started on my 5-star driver rating. That's something I've worked tirelessly for, even though it comes natural. So you guys might be asking yourself why? Why am I so driven, obsessed, and talented when it comes to making new and creative content? The truth of the matter is, it doesn't have anything to do with views, hits, likes, shares, hearts, or follows. What it has to do with is helping people. Through this amazing medium of social media, I've found a way to share myself with the world. And I just want to help as many people as possible. So I guess you could say, in a way, I do care about the numbers, about a broad viewership. And those numbers show me how many lives I'm changing daily. So my promise to you guys is that if you keep watching, I'll keep creating, doing, posting, and fucking killing it until the day is done. All right, guys, that does it for my story thus far. I want to thank you guys for clicking and staying with me on this journey, and I want you to share the vid. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free. Don't hesitate. Ask. I can't wait to see what you guys comment and how many people share this video. It's always inspiring to see people interact with my stuff. So this is in Creative Commons. If you guys want to do a mashup, a mix-up, it's totally free reign. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, Curties.